working away on this 68 Cutlass. One of the other things that we've been asked to do is put a new set of door panels on this car. The ones that were on here were the originals, and they were pretty worn out from when somebody kind of redid this car. But we've got the rears in, and they went pretty well. You see that side's in, this side here. Replaced the panel itself, and replaced the door welt molding. Looks like I need to reattach that there. But anyhow, the door welt opening molding here, and I've got this front panel on, but I'm gonna have to take this one back off, as I'm going to show you with the other one. Guys, the parts situation is just terrible. I'm going to say it again. It's terrible. Everybody on YouTube is complaining about the parts, and I'm going to join in, because pretty much the stuff coming down the pike is junk. It's all junk. Nobody can make anything correctly anymore, and I'm going to show you why I'm saying that with these panels. Now, these door panels originally were two pieces. It's a cardboard base, your flat part, and then the top where it curves over is a metal backing, and it's attached together with some staples. As you can see here, got cardboard, and then this piece here is metal, and it's pre-shaped, bent, and then your material is attached to it. So that's an important part to the door panel, because that's what hooks over the top of the door frame, and that's where your window seal comes into play at, and that also determines where the door panel hangs on the door. It can affect the overall length of the door panel, or the height of the door panels, I should say. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Come around to this side. Excuse the mess in the shop, but there's a lot going on here. So here's the ends. This is the original. This is the new one. That curvature is in no way, any shape or form, close to what this should be. This is a very tight radius. This is not. If I hung this door panel on the door just the way it is, and if I never looked at that and just hung it on the door, this door would hang below the bottom of the door about a ½ inch, and the door would not close, because this part of the door would catch on the door opening. Why is it so hard to make this correct? You're stamping this piece. Stamp it the right way. What's the problem here? I don't understand. So now I have to adjust all of this, which I did on the other one, and I don't have it quite enough. I've got to take it back off, and I've got to adjust the other one some more, because the front part is hanging just a little bit low, and it's scraping across the threshold. So I have to fix that. The other thing I came across too is that only 2 of the 3 retaining clip holes are in the right place. These 2 bottom ones are okay. The third one on the new panel is up here. Up here. So there's no way to put your third clip in. I guess I could try to cut a hole in here and not cut through the top material. It's not that easy. The other thing they neglected to put in the new door panels were these squares. It has 1 stamped in it, but these other 2 are not there. As you can see, let's see if you can see, there's a hole here, but there's also a little square here that's kind of stamped out. You have to cut it and remove it yourself. That's not there. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about too is, okay, why does it take so long to install these door panels? Well, I'm showing you one reason why, because I've got to refit all the tops of these door panels. You also have to go through and you have to cut out all your circles. for your window cranks and where your door pulls go through, your armrest holes that attach to the door frame themselves. You have to cut all these out. You have to cut out this little holes for your attachment pins to go in. These all take time. You just take a knife and cut those. These, it doesn't matter because you can cut the outer material. And everything behind this section here is covered by a plastic trim piece. But you cut too far on one of these, and you're cutting through your outside material, your door panel is ruined. You just ruined a $150 or $200 door panel. And guess what? I don't want to have to buy another door panel. And you usually can't buy them just in singles. You have to buy them in pairs. So, yeah, I'm voicing my frustration again. Because these are simple jobs that shouldn't take me 4 days to do. But they do. Because I have to go through all this monkeying around with these panels in order to get things to fit right. Well, after a lot of hammering and adjusting and a little cursing, I got this door panel to fit where it should be or as close to it as I can. I got it so that the bottom doesn't hang over the edge of the door shell, so it won't drag across here when you close and open the door. Now the next thing I need to do before I start cutting my holes and whatnot in the door for all the window cranks to come through, these door panels are actually held along the bottom with 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Since there's already holes in the door, I want to be able to get my holes matched up on my door panel. So what I've done is, you see there, I've installed the screws here, and basically what I do is I hold the panel and I find the screw head and just give it a knock, and it'll leave an impression in the door panel. So then when I take it off, I know where to drill my hole. Now this end one here, the hole is kind of wallered out, so we're just going to drill through the panel and drill through the door frame and install a new screw to mount this one. Okay, so I'm working on getting this panel ready, getting all the holes cut for the various window regulators that go through. I just thought I'd show you what I had to do with these. And the door panel comes with them stamped almost all the way through. They leave a couple of places on it where you need to cut through, and then you can remove these because they use the same panels for different cars. They have some various different things on them. There's a hole here that could be used for the remote controlled mirror if your car has one, so you would cut that hole out. But this one's for the window. This one here is for the door handle release, and this one is for the vent window. The vent windows on this car have a little window crank that opens and closes them. And these other ones are for the other armrest trim pieces that need to go on and attach the armrest to the door. Also, I've got to cut a hole. I hate doing this, but I've got to cut a hole here in the door panel because this car has speakers installed in the door and the owner wants them back in, so I'm going to cut this brand new door panel, put a hole in it. So what we do here is we find the little places that need to be cut through, and you just cut them with a razor blade. Just cut through, and there's usually 4 on these bigger ones. The smaller ones will have 2. Well, once you get them cut, you can push from the back side, and that'll pop out the little piece. And then I'll take an X-Acto knife and I poke through and just cut around the circle. There, yeah, cut that out. And now I've got a hole for the window regulator to come through. So I do that with all those. Now to cut this, I'm just going to use a big hole saw, and we'll get it close to the size, but it's not going to be exactly the same size. I don't have one that big. Alright, so that gets me close, and then I'll just take a pair of sheet metal cutters, and the way I did this, I laid my old door panel on top of this and just traced where the circle was, so it should be in the same place. And then we're just going to cut this out to size. Now we can get in here. Alright, so that should leave our hole big enough. And just to check, take the speaker. Yeah, that should do it. That leaves the hole big enough for the speaker to go in. So that leaves our panel about ready to go on. I've got new pins to hold it in. And I just need to cut the vinyl away from these various little holes here. And I can go ahead and get this door panel put on. And I do still have to drill my holes here where my impressions were left from the screws and get those set. And that'll leave this part of the job finished. Okay, so I got the door panel finished up and installed back on the door. Everything looks really nice back the way it was originally from the factory, other than that aftermarket speaker that we put in, but they look okay. And to add sound to these older cars, you have to, sometimes you got to do those things. They didn't leave much place to put speakers in these cars because they just didn't have that back then. You had one speaker in the top of the dash. But door panels look good. That side there all finished up. Back panels, I have to get a few screws, trim screws for these panels here and down here to reattach this. New window or door welt moldings are in so that they seal up good. I did some adjustment on the side windows too while I had all the panels out. That window over there wasn't coming up far enough, and I found that somebody had the wrong bolt put in the window stop at the top, and the window mechanism was actually hitting the bolt before it hit the stop, so it wouldn't let the window come up all the way and seal on the weather stripping that's on the top, seals on the sides. So we got that straightened out so all the windows are sealed up as best they're going to be. Again, this car was not done to a proper restoration, but it looks good. It's a good driver. It's a good car to go out and have fun in and not have to worry too much about, you know, anything happening to it. If it gets a scratch here or a nick there, it's going to happen. So we're going to continue on with a few other things we got to do. We got new front coil springs coming for this car because the front just sits too low for the wheels that are on it, and you can't turn the car. Well, I hope that gave you some insight what it takes to get some door panels put on these older cars. Some of them are not as difficult as this, especially if they're just a flat board card. They don't have the upper part where your arm rests out on the window. They're pretty straightforward as going on. You just, same procedures. You cut the little holes out where your mechanisms come through and your door releases and everything, and the little holes for your attachment pins, and just slap them on. They pretty much will fall right into place. The flat ones, the upper ones like this, you got to make sure you check them because these parts today just are, it's not good. It's just not a good situation. We have a lot of things that are available today, but there's just so much that's just not right. Well, I'm going to leave you with this, and I hope you got something out of that, and that this helps somebody out who might be wanting to spruce up the interior in their car. And again, if you haven't, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Send me some likes, leave me some comments, let me know what you thought about the video. Send me any ideas that you might have for some things to do that you want covered in the future, that I can maybe, I got something coming in, I can show you how to do that. And I'll see you again soon.